All right, friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kristen, and this is Growing Zone 9B. So today we're over here at my parents' house. We just got finished having some wonderful sourdough discard waffles with the kids. And you know, I'm trying to encourage everybody to be growing. That's very important for us to know where our food comes from and just eating better and having a healthier lifestyle. So I wanted to just kind of do a little walkthrough with you of what my parents have started accumulating and how they're changing their life and for the better, and adding some great fruits into their life and vegetables. So let's get started on this little tour. So over here, my parents have a blueberry. Now they keep cages around everything because they have deers that will come through the yard. My parents live on a nice little bit of acreage, and so we do have to be cautious of that, the deers coming through. So my parents try to put cages and stuff to make sure that wild animals do not get involved with it. That right there is a nasty little bug that we need to get rid of, but I'm not going to deal with that at this moment. Down here, my dad has put in a bunch of like mulched kind of area, and as you can see, there are some ginger that are actually coming up. Now I would assume that this is the Oahu ginger that my mom has probably put in here, because I did give her some of that, which that is your soap ginger. Really nice to have. This is a loquat plant. Again, it's behind a cage. Right here, my parents have their mango tree. Now this tree did get bit back from the frost, but you know what? It's still got some beautiful green leaves. I anticipate that this is definitely going to come back. We probably just need to trim it up a little bit and, you know, just kind of get this little baby back in gear and ready to start producing. Last year, my parents did get a couple of mangoes off of it, so we are excited. Hopefully this year, we might be able to get a few more, and that's what you want to see. This thing is very tall though at this point, so it's definitely going to require a ladder. You can see that's just a regular, like, I think that's actually an 8-foot fence over here, and you can see how tall that mango is on the other side of that. Right here in their front yard, they have some Barbados cherry plants. Again, we've got the cage around them. They make these really beautiful pink flowers. Let me see if I can get my hand in there. But there's a little pink flower. These should be coming into bloom. They are actually taller than me right now, so I would think that these plants are potentially, I would say maybe about 5'6". So they've got them in the ground over here, and then my parents have another spot over here where they have another Barbados cherry tree. Now this thing does really well. My mom was able to get quite a bit of fruit off of it last year. You can see the little pink buds that are coming in. Mine do not look this good. Mine have definitely not gotten this tall, but remember, because we're on the water, I have a lot more moisture, and my parents actually have a lot more drier, sandier weather. Look at that beautiful pink flower. I don't know if you guys can see it over there, but it's right in that area. So right behind me, you all remember that I ended up hooking my mom up for Mother's Day. She has the Vago grow bed. She has it in that nice blue color, and we got her the cover. Now her cover is doing much better than my covers have been doing, which is really great. Right here, we're gonna have this bed today that we're gonna actually be working in. All she has really going on is a tomato plant, and then I think that's a cucamelon down there. So we've got these 2 open spots. We'll go ahead and we'll look at those later today. But my dad went ahead and he built this nice L-shaped little garden area for my mom. And over here, she got some tomatoes started, lettuce. Now I don't anticipate that that lettuce is really going to grow, because we're getting ready to go into our warm season, and lettuce here is probably going to bolt, and so it's not going to be as successful. I know she put in some peppers and some bok choy and a couple of other vegetables. I think some eggplants might be over in this area as well. So what I want to do today though is I'm going to add in I'm going to get some tomato cages. My dad has some tomato cages, and we're going to be adding in some Malabar spinach. That's always a good one to have as we go into the summer months. And over here in the buckets, as you can see, they've got 2 pineapple plants. That's an easy way for folks to get pineapples growing, is just get a bucket and just kind of put them in here. Make sure that you're keeping them a little bit moist, give them a little bit of love and some fertilizer, and they will pop through. So that's good to have. Anybody even having like a little patio can do those. We have 2 more Barbados cherries here. I believe that this is it's probably either a kale or a collard green. This is a mulberry that I had given to my parents. I did it from a cutting, and so they're going to end up planting that. They of course have to keep it away from the deer. This is, I think my mom said this was another mango that they had gotten from seed. And then you can see here, it looks like we're going to start to get some little blooms on it. Yeah, it looks like those are starting to bloom. This is a pineapple guava plant that will need to go into the ground. It's kind of like a bush, but for now you can keep it in that bucket. It's obviously working for them. Over here, my brother had purchased this from my parents. It's a winter Mexican avocado. It says that it's green, and then it has October, December written on it. So I'm sure that's the time frame in which you can anticipate getting some of that fruit, or the planting time. But since my brother picked this up, I don't really know too much about it. It looks like the plant probably needs to be treated just a little bit, but overall the leaves look beautiful and green, and that's what we want to see. Back here, my mom has some other little plants that she started accumulating and getting when she went to the store. Down there, this was one of the plants that I had picked up for her. This is the Texas sage. I have a couple of those at my house. It looks like she's got, some peas down here. She got some Bonnie plants when she went to the Lowe's or the Home Depot. This is a white eggplant. And yep, these are some green peas. It looks like, yeah, we got a straight neck squash. And then this one is a Bonnie green bell pepper. Now this pepper is looking actually really lovely and beautiful. You can see it's already starting to flower as well. And then over here, there's not much that you can actually see at this time, but my mom's used a pool, which is nice. Use what you have, right? She's got some nasturtium in here. She put some tatsou, some more bok choy. We've been loving the bok choy this year. And then there's some yellow tomatoes that are over there in one of the kids' old sand boxes. She's, you know, upcycling that for her little grow area. And then all around here, which is really nice here in Florida, we have a lot of mosquitoes. And so my dad has made a nice little border of lemongrass. Now, your lemongrass is going to get this little brown to it. Just trim it up a little bit. Put some gloves on. I normally run my hands through it and just pull out the dead foliage. But it's not necessary, but it does help the plant to breathe a little better. But yeah, you can break them off, and that's what my dad's been doing. He's just breaking them off and running them all around the pool. It will help to keep those mosquitoes out of this area, and that's what we want to see. And right here is another pineapple guava. This one just needs a little bit of love. We just need to give it some nutrients. I can see some like fungus growing on it, so we just need to treat it with like a little bit of the fungal juice, as I say. I get it from Haas Tools. It's like a fungicide, and we'll just spray it and treat that, so that way that plant will return to health, and give it some nutrients, maybe some fish emulsion, and bring it back. Now my mom, I had like a little grow tower, and I hated those grow towers. I really did not like them. They just didn't keep the moisture as well as I wanted them to, and so my mom kind of broke them up and spread them throughout the yard, and she puts little plants in them. Right, back here my parents have an olive tree. Now this olive tree is a little more difficult to maintain, just because of the deer. The deer will come over here and they will eat the tops of this plant, slap off, and so my parents just, this is a tree that struggles. Now down at the bottom you can see that there's definitely a lot more foliage down there, and so it does do better because the deers kind of keep themselves to the top of that plant. My parents also over here have a little bit of, it looks like this is the Cuban oregano. Cuban oregano is super easy to grow. You literally can just break off one of these little stems and stick it in the ground here in Florida in Zone 9B, and it will just take off. my parents have another pool and some other buckets that they can start utilizing to, you know, grow additional food. And that's one of the things that we have to keep in mind is save your buckets. You know, you can upcycle those buckets and use them. And you know, if you go to the store, the grocery store, and get another pineapple head, just make sure you have some dirt on hand. Pop that pineapple head in there, and then you'll start growing another pineapple. Every little thing that you can do, you can upcycle. You do not have to have the same type of setup that I have, where you have these giant beds and you know, you've invested a lot of money. To grow food doesn't have to cost a lot, and that's what we're all about, is just utilizing what we have and just getting the good nutrients in our body. That's most important. All right, friends, so I have my dad with me today. He is helping me. As you can see, he's putting in a tomato cage. What we're going to utilize for that tomato cage is, remember, we got seeds from FL Gardening. Go check them out. They're local here, and that's what you want to be using, is knowing local companies and where your seeds come from. And in this pack was some Malabar spinach. Now, Malabar spinach is really great for the summer months. You will be able to eat quite a bit off of that. So I want to go ahead and get started with that Malabar spinach. So in this pack, remember, we got this was an extra. This was pigeon pea. You can order pigeon pea from them. Now, pigeon peas get kind of like a little bit of a small tree. We have the perpetual chard. We have New Zealand spinach. Here's the Malabar spinach. Don't forget, we had some Ethiopian kale, some Egyptian spinach, and this is just going to be our marker so that we know what we have growing. The Malabar spinach seed is not very small. It's actually a nice size seed, as you can see there. So this will be easy for us to kind of track when we're putting it in the ground. And what I'm going to do is, all around this area right here, is I'm going to put maybe about 4 or 5 seeds, because we don't know which seeds are actually going to come up, and it's not going to do any harm by putting the seeds in. We can cut this back and you know, just eat from what we want to eat. If it becomes too much, we can pull one of the plants out. So what I did was I put about 4 on the outside and then 1 in the middle. It will hang on to this cage and it'll make nice stir fry. My parents like to eat some stir fry. So what my mom has, she just gave me her papers. So it looks like over here she had definitely planted some lettuce, and she had planted some tomatoes at the very end, which we would need some tomato cages for those. But right here, that lettuce, like I said, I expect it to bolt here because we're just going into those summer months. And so she'll at least have some Malabar spinach. That's always really nice. Over here, my mom, looks like she planted some peppers. So I anticipate that the peppers will definitely probably come up. And then it looks like over here on this corner right there, she also probably had some lettuce. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna put that other tomato cage in. My dad's gonna come help so that we can get that tomato cage in the ground. All right, so we have the tomato cage in the ground. And gardening doesn't have to be difficult, friends. We can make it super easy by knowing what we can grow and the seasons in which we can grow it. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get some of this Egyptian spinach going. I think that that'll be a nice addition to their grow bed. Now these seeds are super small, as you can see, they're tiny. So we just basically want to surface sow them. So I've planted probably about 7 seeds right in this little area right here. And what that Egyptian spinach will do, it'll come up and kind of latch on to this cage. Now I don't expect it to get too large, but it'll just be a nice little summer addition to their garden. Here's our pigeon pea. Now these are fairly large seeds because remember, they're gonna make kind of like a bush. Here's what those seeds look like. Maybe that's a little better shot for you guys. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna plant the pigeon peas in the corner of the beds, because they'll make like a little bushy type plant, and then they'll be able to have pigeon peas. And pigeon peas can last you like year round as far as the plant goes. You don't have to keep replanting in those areas. And if you want to pull it up, then pull it up if it doesn't work for you. And then of course, y'all know that I had ordered this from Ever Wild Farm. This is the Cracker Jack African Marigold. It's always nice to just throw a couple of these in the bed. And so I'm just gonna kind of like go along and just sprinkle some throughout the bed. You know, I think that'll just be nice and beautiful and be really attractive for this area. Okay, so right back here, we have our squash, and we're gonna go ahead and plant these for my mom. These are just the Bonnie's straight neck squash. It's nice because we have a little tag for them. Now, they do like some sun, but our Florida sun is just really brutal. So we don't want, you know, our plants to die from that awful heat. Now in here, my parents picked out a nice set. There's actually, you guys can see, there's actually 4 squash in here in one plant. And that's really nice to have, because we can split this up and we'll be able to plant this throughout this bed. And you can see it's got a nice little root set down at the bottom here. All right, so I'm just going ahead and like splitting these up. Now this one I can see is damaged. So I'm just gonna keep those 2 together and put them in the ground. All right, friends, so it's that easy to just get stuff growing in your garden, and this little cover is really nice to be able to protect some of these plants. So make sure that you're taking care of your friends and your family and your loved ones, and you're helping them, encouraging them to be growing. It's really important. We're gonna finish getting the rest of these plants in, but my camera is about to die. So until next time, friends, love one another, be kind, and I cannot wait to see you guys in my next video.